What's up guys, this is Limiterz here, and well, welcome to my tutorial on how to DJ. Well, it took me quite a while to learn how to actually DJ, but yeah, that's what I'm here to help you guys out with. So first thing is that you need to know what the EQ is, that's the equalizer, and you got three different types of frequencies with the audio. You got the highs, the mids, and the lows, and the highs are nothing but treble. The mids kind of give you more punch, and the lows are more for bass. And when you're doing a mix or like DJing, you should really never touch the highs and the mids. Probably best to play around with the lows more. Um, but apart from that, yeah, the lows are the ones you keep playing around with. First off, we'll probably load tracks in to our decks. So the order is number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. Yup. Uh, let's go for, where did that? Yeah, Frozen. Just trying to find extended mixes. One good tip for mixing is that try and find the extended mixes. Try and rip them off YouTube or whatever. It doesn't really matter. But make sure they're extended mixes because it saves you a lot of effort. Okay, that's it for now. Alright, so when you're starting off, you always want to have the lows of the track that you're going to be playing next. So I'm going to be playing Elation first. Started off there. You want to have the lows of, say, Frozen here, because that's going to be the second track. You want to have it on negative infinity, because once you bring it in, after beat matching, you would want to hear the track and not feel it, but like towards the end of the transition, you want this track to take over. So what we'll do is bring in the bass of this slowly, the lows, and take this out. And once it's the right time, we will just cut this one out, and this one will be playing obviously. But another tip for beat matching, make sure you have Q on. Now I'm not DJing on any kind of proper decks or anything, but if you have decks, you're gonna have to plug in your headphones, and then once you hit Q on this selected track, so this is track 1, that goes to deck 1, track 2 goes to deck 2, and so on like that. Once you hit Q on that certain track, so this one, track 2 is going to be played on the headphones. Just make sure your volume's on 0, because if you have it up there, it's going to play on the speakers and the headphones. But if you have it on 0, it's just going to play through your headphones. And once you're done with the transition, you can take it out of the headphones and probably plan your next one. So that's basically the basics of doing a transition now. I'll just quickly go into effects with you guys. So these knobs here right next to flanger, next to the power button or whatever that is it basically sets how many beats you want the certain effect to go on for. So if you look up a transverse wave on Google, one wavelength or whatever is probably how long the effect goes for. So 4 beats is probably gonna fit like, yeah, it's gonna go on for 4 beats. That's gonna go on for 8 beats. That's gonna go for 16 beats. So it sounds longer on 16. It sounds really, really short on 1/16. And I'll just kind of give you a fair idea. Now this knob here, it sets the volume on the effect. So what I generally do when I do my effects, I turn it on. I generally keep it on 8 beats. Sometimes I go 16. And when I want, I just keep playing around with this knob. Just make it sound good. And it kind of excites the song a bit, I guess. So I have them set up before I mix. Kind of saves my time. But apart from that, there's nothing else I can think of mentioning. Oh yes, gain knobs, try and keep them in the center. EQ knobs, when the track's playing, keep them in center. Unless you're gonna bring in another track, that's when the lows go on negative infinity. But apart from that, oh yes, filters. Okay, filters are something really quite simple to understand. So now you know the highs are treble, lows are bass. Okay, turn it to the left, that's a low pass filter. That means that you're just letting out the low frequencies, you're letting the low frequencies pass through, and you're filtering out the high frequencies, which means you're letting the bassy sounds pass through and taking out the treble, which is why the song kind of sounds blurred. You'll be hearing that in the mix as well. And the high pass filter, on the other hand, just lets the high frequencies pass through. Same thing. Anyways, so we'll get started with this and see how we go. Alrighty. My bad, I forgot to start recording this one actually. Oops. Okay, here we go again. So here's where we can turn on the effect, and we've set the number of beats we want it on for. We'll slowly bring it in. So that's the low pass filter. Kind of blurs out the audio for you. High pass filter takes out the bass. Bassy sounds. Okay, so this part, we start counting the beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, down. Now it's not really beat match, so that's what I'm gonna do. Here's a beat viewer, that's what I like to call it. I just match the beats. Just around there. Slowly bring in this one. Take out the bass. you go. That's basically what a transition is. Basic steps. Have the lows cut out on this one. Play the count down towards the end of the build-up. Count the beats down and play this. And once you start playing it might be beat matched, which is basically you have the two tracks going at the same beat, or you don't have a beat matched. It's one of the two. If you don't have a beat matched, you gotta go to the viewfinder and then the beat viewer or whatever, and kind of slide up the track. On real decks, generally what they do is, if it's a big difference, they'll use that slider, the jog wheel that they have. But if it's a tiny difference, they kind of play around with the pit slider until they get the right beat. Now, I'm not willing to do that on the software because the increments aren't really correct, so it doesn't work out very well. Once you get the beat matching done, you gotta slowly bring in the volume, and once the drops post-turning, you need to slowly bring in the lows of the second track and take out the lows of the first track, and then take out the volume once you find the right time. That's basically when the intro's done. And I'll probably go through another 2 tracks with you guys, and that'll be about it. So let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I started real early there. Actually, wait. Oops. I made a mistake. There you go, that's basically it.
And the sky colors.
Make sure you take out the lows though.
It's that time again to celebrate Decibel.
Now, an issue with, I think it happens on decks as well, but I really haven't played on decks before, guys. I'm gonna admit it, I haven't played on decks. I've been making my mixes on this software. Now, what I've heard is that decks do tend to mess up the tempo readings, which is nothing but these numbers up here, the 150, 149.99. And this one, it's hardstyle. Hardstyle, all tracks are 150 BPM. Now that's being extremely accurate, so you don't really have to bother about that. But 74.99, if you times that by 2, I'm pretty sure that gives you 150 anyway. So, as you can see, it's probably just skipping the beat. And apparently a lot of decks do that, so you've got to watch out for that. If it says 74, please do not hit the sync button. Please do not. Okay? And with a track like around 150, it's fine. If it's like from a 128 BPM track to a 150 BPM track, that's when you should be worried. That's when you should be syncing the 150 BPM track, turning it down to 128 BPM just for the intro. Once the intro is done, reset the tempo straight to 150, because you don't want to be playing hardstyle track real slow. So that's something you need to watch out for as well. Let's go here. there we go, we had the basic transition yet again. Beat match, increase volume, bring in lows slowly, cut out lows over time, and then cut out volume once the intro is done. Now, how to tell when the intro is done, so I got Zartox's check out the drop. So this is an extended mix as well. You gotta just find spots. So this intro kind of ends differently. It ends with a climax over here, right here. But you gotta end it right after whenever the vocals are, because they tend to have parts of the melody or vocals, one of the two towards the end of the intro. You gotta end it right after that. They'll probably have like an impact sound effect or something around there. If you check out, yep, Screen Baker's remix of Resurrection. We'll be seeing a collab between me and this guy soon as well. But if you do check out the end of his intro here, you can see the way the waveform just ends over here. That's the end of the intro. That's the impact he's got here. It's the impact sample. So you just got to cut it right on that impact, and it'll be a crazy transition. Just pause this track. I'll just show you, check out the drop as well. It's a big match, so I just checked it. Pretty cute. Yeah, so that's really it. I mean, there's not too much to this kind of transition. Transitions are basically the same. What makes them sound different is probably the intro. Some DJs may mash up two tracks in the middle and all that. That's pretty cool, but I'm not going to be going into that, especially if I'm doing it on software. It's really hard, so it's a totally different story if it's on decks. That's why decks are much better. Get decks. I'm gonna end this really soon. Awesome. Well, that was it, I guess. That's about how I do my mixes. That's just about it. And if you guys have any other questions, please do let me know down in the comments. This is my first tutorial, so I know the quality of it wouldn't be as good. But let me know what you think in the comments, and also do hit me up if you have any sort of questions. Alright, it was fun, and hope you really enjoyed this one.